Good morning, Canada. This is Jesse Partland with your 4 a.m. CBC News. Today's top story. When asked about her whereabouts the night of the accident, Tiger Woods' wife replied, she was out, clubbing. Also, the Conservatives who have been running Canada have promised to put jobs first. But have they? Canadian families are fighting just to pay their bills because they're forced to rely on a succession of low-wage, insecure jobs. Or their EI did not kick in fast enough or last long enough. Still, others are denied employment insurance altogether. The NDP has unveiled new plans to help stimulate the economy recently. One of the mainstays of this strategy is to fix or reform employment insurance. Unemployment has been higher in the recent times and in the past 2 decades. Bill C-280 aims to help those Canadians who have recently lost work due to the economic slump. Here with the specific facts is our statistics analyst, Jesse Halverson.
Thank you, Jesse. As you can see, employment since 2006 to 2008 has been skyrocketing steadily. When 2009 hit, employment went right down. Employment rose by 79,000 in November, bringing the unemployment rate down 0.1 percentage points to 8.5%. Full-time employment increased by 39,000 in November, the third consecutive monthly increase. Most of the gain in overall employment in November was among women aged 25 to 54 and men aged 55 and over. In November, employment growth was widespread across most provinces, with the largest gains in Ontario, Quebec, and Alberta. Now, as we can see here, the unemployment rates in 2006 were low, and as we went steadily, when 2009 hit, it skyrocketed way up the chart.
Yes.
This has been Jesse Halverson reporting with your statistics from Statistics Canada. Back to you, Jesse.
Breaking news. Tiger Woods has apparently said his crash was deliberate. It seems he had 18 pristine cars, yet he still hadn't had a hole-in-one. The bill to reform EI, Bill C-280, proposed by Carol Hughes of the NDP, evens the scales for Canadians that are put out of work by the recent recession. In her own words, she says, right now, EI is not fair for the kind of job losses we're seeing. Regional unemployment rates are changing dramatically day to day and week to week. EI needs to be able to better respond to this challenge. In addition to increasing the number of people who are eligible to receive EI, the bill improves benefits for seasonal workers by reducing by 2 the number of weeks used to calculate benefits. And it appears everyone is happy with this bill, except some people. Some skeptics of the bill say that increasing EI benefits will only increase the draw for EI by people that don't need it. But it should be noted that the money received from EI will most likely go back into the local community and therefore the Canadian economy. Recently, Brad DeBoer interviewed NDP leader Jack Layton on the issue of EI reform.
We can't wait. We can't wait to some time off months from now when somebody decides that it's time to act. We've got to get action now. So our goal for the next 10 weeks is to produce results and action out of this Parliament and to get the Prime Minister moving on these issues.
So that was you last month at the rally. Thanks for meeting with us on such short notice. Are you glad to be back?
Yes, we are glad to be back. We had a couple of weeks to be back with people, and we heard a lot of tough stories about what people are facing. Boy, you don't hear those kind of stories around here on Parliament Hill. But the people who, the one story I was telling our team this morning about a couple in Oshawa, mother and father had worked for 35 years in the auto sector. They both lost their jobs. They'd been out of work for a little while, and they weren't able to pay their mortgage. They turned to their daughter. Daughter offered to come and help them pay their mortgage. She got laid off from an auto parts plant. So she takes part of her little severance package and writes a check to her father. And you could have heard a pin drop, and there were a lot of teary eyes when she described how her father reacted.
Is Canada the only one looking at EI this way? Who else is doing this?
The European countries have done this. The Americans have done this because they recognize it also is good for the stimulus. Not only does it help people pay the rent, put food on the table, but they'll spend it right there in their local community. And that's why I'm hoping that we can convince Stephen Harper now as opposed to sometime off in the future.
What about the welfare system? If EI runs out, can't they just go on welfare?
Let's be clear. The provincial welfare assistance is dramatically less.
So what is involved in applying for welfare?
You have to sell everything you own. before you can qualify for that welfare. You don't just go from EI to welfare. I heard a story about a woodworker in BC, Alex Adamanenko, a member from Southern Ontario, brought this in, and I've heard it time and time again. The fella has a truck, key to his work. He gets laid off from the forest job. His EI runs out. He goes to get welfare, and they tell him, you got to sell your truck because we assess it as being worth more than $5,000. Yeah. Well, he'll never get a job if he sells his truck. So you know what he did? He left his apartment, and he and his daughter are living in his truck. I mean, this is the truth of it. In Ontario, you've got to get rid of it. If you have an RRSP, you got to get rid of that. If you own a house, forget it. You got to sell your house and use all that money. You've got to reduce yourself to destitution before you can get any help from the welfare system. This is why it's so important that we fix EI, because employment insurance is supposed to provide that bridge, but we all know the bridge has got to be longer while you're in a recession than it is now, and the Liberals never should have changed the rules 10 years ago. Thank you, Don.
It's Brad, actually.
The bill aims to increase the proportion of unemployed Canadians who are covered by employment insurance to 80% from the current rate of under 40% by making changes to eligibility requirements based on insurance principles. It also recognizes the reality of self-employment by basing EI benefits on the best of 12 weeks of employment earnings. Here with a report on the views of the other major political parties regarding the improvement of Canadian infrastructure through EI reform is our own political analyst, Sarah Blair.
Thank you, Jesse. Unemployed Nova Scotians are considered to be, quote, no good bastards sitting on the sidewalk in Halifax. This was stated by the Parliamentary Secretary, Gerald Keddy. For the Conservatives, this is indicative of their disrespect for the unemployed, as well as for the views of employee insurance. The Liberals' views of employment insurance parallels that of the NDP, as expressed by Mike Savage, a Liberal and strong advocate of employee insurance reform. Mike Savage has spoken out numerous times against the government Human Resources Minister and has called out such reprehensible quotes by Minister Diane Finley in Parliament, such as when she stated in the Halifax Chronicle earlier this year, "We do not want to make employment insurance lucrative for them to stay home and get paid for it." I recently caught up with the Aurelia Green Party leader to discuss their views on employment insurance.
I'm Brian Forbes, leader of the Green Party, here to talk to you about tree racism.
We're talking about employment insurance.
Employment insurance? What? We don't have a stance on employment insurance.
And back to you, Jesse.
What? Go commercial!
Over 100 million Americans keep guns in their homes for protection. The Second Amendment to the Constitution guarantees all Americans the right to keep and bear arms, but these arms must be accessible. The patented backup gun rack keeps your shotgun at your bedside and is easily hidden by blankets and sheets. The patented backup device slides easily between your mattress and box spring and mounts your shotgun flush at your bedside, enabling access to your shotgun while in the lying position in your bed. For only $39.95, you can own the backup to make your guns accessible to you when you need them, yet hidden and out of the way when you don't. For only $39.95, you'll get the valuable time that may be needed to adequately protect you and your home. It's the smartest money you'll spend in your life. Get up now and call the number on your screen. Make your firearms accessible by ordering the backup. It's adjustable to fit any shotgun. Many customers are buying one for each side of the bed.
Call or go online. The backup is not intended for use in homes with children.
And we're back. In conclusion, does Canada require a new, more lenient stance on EI for the benefit of the Canadian economy, as the NDP have proposed? Email us with your thoughts at cbc.cabcv. The answer is yes. Yes, we do. Yep. And now, stay tuned for our exclusive report on snake bites. How many is too many? Is one? And now I'd like to leave you with a little piece of wisdom from Tiger Woods. He who drives well in fairway does not always fare well in driveway. Good night, Canada. This has been Jesse Partland with CBC News.